All right. Happy Friday. Happy 4th. Happy. Just be happy today, folks. You thought there's no way. See, we don't take days off here. We don't do okay, it's a holiday and we just gonna not no. When you commit and you decide that you're gonna be something and do something, it's about holding yourself accountable to your shit. Well, let me now. I'm working on the swear words, seeing that we got faith-based Friday. I try not to drop too many swear words here and there. Let me just check to make sure everything is good. Mic check. Hold up. Let me just share it out on Facebook, and we will be good. All right, there. All right. Facebook, we in the building. Facebook, we in the building. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. All right, let me just share it out on YouTube, and we're going to get this thing jumping regardless of the time of day, the holiday, whatever it is. You already know what we're about here. Get it up on YouTube, and we're ready to roll. All right. We in here. Good afternoon, good morning, good whatever time of day that you may be tuning into this. Let me just introduce myself to anybody that may be new to this channel, new to my world, new to what I'm all about. My name, Aswan Crookshank. I am your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, former Division I college football player, and current 5-time, very soon to be 6-time published author and educator. I created a whole system, a whole brand, a whole mindset, a whole philosophy, a whole understanding that's all about taking the innovative teamwork lessons that you learn on the football field and aligning them with businesses and business owners so they have a staff and a group of employees that moves as efficiently, has that hunger, has that passion, has that eagerness to them, has that dog in them, the same dog that you would see with a championship high school or youth level football team. You want to create that same energy in business and in your office. So that's what we do around here in the Move Swiftly world. Today, we are doing yet again, like we do every single Friday here, regardless of the holiday, regardless of what is going on outside the world, we got to stay committed to our goals, stay committed to what we're about. So every Friday, I do something called a faith-based Friday. And lately, it's kind of changed a little bit because you got to think when I first started, it was just Life Church, where the church that I actually pay my tithes at and that I'm actually a member of is Life Church. But lately, there's a certain someone in my life who's been going to a Church by the Glades, and I've kind of been back and forth in terms of the messages that I take in. So today we're going to go over the Church by the Glades message. It was a great one because it's all about prioritizing your time. And the reason I actually listened to it this morning again. And the reason I actually wanted to go over this one is because it's exactly what we're doing right now, right? I'm actually in St. Augustine with my girl, and we're having a great day planned. But at the end of the day, if we're serious about our goals, if I'm serious about my goals, if I'm serious about proving to her, or she's whatever it is, proving to yourself more than anything. If you're serious about what it is you're trying to do, then you're going to prioritize your time. You're going to wake up at a certain time more. You're going to make sure certain things get done before you just go and have fun and enjoy the 4th. All of these things have to be prioritized in your own mind. And when I let the message play, I'm going to let the message play in a little bit. He talks a lot about putting prioritizing God's presence in your life, figuring out what times of days, where you can kind of implement these situations in which you have that presence. It's all in you. That's on you to do. That's your responsibility to do. It's something that you can control. There's no excuses. It's going to be on you because you're going to be the one left with the result. You can't blame somebody else for the certain things that they went through, or because somebody did this to me and I can't get this. I can't wake up in the morning and work out because somebody hurt me. No one wants to hear your damn excuses. Are you prioritizing the time that you need to have in order to make your goals and make your aspirations come true? So before I get into that, I went on to a mini sermon early. So that happens from time to time on this show. So just get used to it. Let me just go through some announcements real quick, and then we'll let my man really take it away. And I'll work on making sure this stays within the 20 to 25 minute mark. Sometimes I can get to ranting if we go, over 30 minutes, but we'll keep this around the 25 minute mark. So before we get into that, let's just get through some announcements real quick, and we will go from there. Hold on real quick. Let me get that up on the screen. All right. First and foremost, if you are a business owner, yes. If you are a business one and you have not yet, why is it not showing up? There it's all right. If you're a business owner, if you have not yet gone to freeguide.makeitmove.com, I create a very easy to understand 10-step process that you can be utilizing right now. It's on freeguide.makeitmove.com. All you got to do is go hit the button and put your name, number, email, and I will send over a 10-step process that I created to create more cohesion, more just efficiency within your workforce right now. We work from a very, very simple formula here in the Move Swiftly world. All right. It's number one, you're establishing measurables. All right. Every single person that comes into that business, every single person that is employed by you needs to have measurables. What needs to get done today? However it gets done, it needs to get done today. Establishing measurables plus a professional distance. Again, these two things are absolutely necessary. You need to have a measurables and there needs to be a professional distance. I come from the fitness world, come from the sports world where there's guys that we become best friends, come like brothers, become like family. I understand getting close to employees, but you as a business owner, you need to have a professional distance from the people that are employed, and you need to have that plus the measurables that you've established, and then and only then can you get the productive environment that is going to lead to the results that you want, that you actually want in your business. Establishing measurables, a professional distance, that leads to the productive environment. That is the formula that we work for. That is the only formula that you're going to get, that you're going to have, that's going to be available for you, that's going to achieve the results that you need. So that's freeguide.makeitmove.com. Just download that free. Just make sure you go do that. Now, if you're a business owner and you're listening to me right now and you're like, bump the free guide. I like the way Aswan is talking. I like the sound. I like the energy. I like it all. And I just shut up and take my money right now. And you're ready for an employee development workshop right now. Just simply go to not free, but simply go to Make Your Move. Just drop the free guide and go to makeitmove.com. That's makeitmove.com. It's makeitmove.com. You can shop there. You can purchase a couple copies of my book. You can actually, there's multiple books. There's actually a place there where you can get the employee development workshops. There's the Wintrepreneur merch. All of the research that you would need to do on Aswan Cruikshank is right there. And it's right there. And I'll read this out before I get into today's message. It's turn your business into a championship team. It's common knowledge that the best way to win in business or in life is by avoiding ways to lose. Whether you've just started a new business or you've been in business for quite some time, there's no getting around the need to hire or outsource certain elements of your organization so things can run as efficiently as possible. When you book your meeting with us, he'll diagnose what the issues are with your current system and then strategically create a system in which will lead to a reduced amount of turnover or a clear understanding of the parts of your business that need to be outsourced. Hear me on that last sentence, folks. Understand the parts of your business that need to be outsourced. All week, we've been talking about how to go from prompt to product. And when it comes to outsourcing certain elements of your business, there's a lot of dead weight. There's a lot of people doing a lot of nonsense out there that just is collecting a check. There's going to be there's going to be kind of this wave in which you need to start outsourcing certain things because you just can't find the people to do it. So that's what I'm here for. I'm here to help you decide all of those things. So all that being said, let's get into Faith-Based Friday. Let's get into what we got going on today. Mr. John Elswick. I'm going to let the first part play. Because it struck a chord with me. Now, again, me personally being the football aficionado I am, he uses the example of a Dolphins fan or a Jets fan, somebody that's really, really busy. And he talks a little bit about when you have a game going on. Let's say you're a really busy person. I'll let him play a little bit. Let me just give you some. Let me just get it out real quick. He said, when you have a busy situation and the Dolphins are playing or the Jets are playing or something's going on sports-wise, somehow, some way, you find that 3 hours to sit down and watch a game. It's funny because I can kind of still feel my girl's elbow nudging me as he was going, like, it's kind of on the hot seat with that. So I'll let him play. I'll let him play, and then we'll kind of address it as we go along. So, Mr. John Elswick, take it away, my brother.
What's up, Church by the Blades? How are we doing this morning? So this is the rowdy service. Is this the rowdy service? Is that right? All right. Hey, just thrilled to be here with you for a couple of things. I just want to say a couple things before we get started. Number one, I hope you realize this, but how many of you know God is doing something really special in this church? Everybody, you guys realize that? I hope you realize that. There's just a real special work of God at CBG and seeing people who are far from God come to faith in Jesus. It's incredible growth here, downtown Fort Lauderdale. God's doing some amazing things there at First Baptist Rally. Anybody here at Rally on Friday night? Make some noise for our Rally people. A couple months ago, Pastor David posted on social, this is right around Easter time, your last beach baptism. There were 400 people who got baptized at your last beach baptism. I share that because I don't want you to go to the place like, yeah, 400 people. No, like, you've got to realize that is a move of the Holy Spirit. God is doing some amazing things here. And when you think about that, always when God's at work, he puts leaders in place behind this. I want to give a quick shout out to Pastor David and Lisa. Can we make some noise for them? And my wife, Melissa, and I just love them, really respect them as friends. And he's a lights out communicator, world-class leader and all that. But the thing that I really love is his character off of the stage. Because when I think about Pastor David, this is one of the most humble, gracious, generous leaders in this area. And that I know you guys are blessed to have him. Let's make some noise one more time. Pastor David and Lisa, such a blessing. I want to start this morning with a statement that I believe is true about everybody in this room. It's true about you and the person sitting next to you and the person 2 rows in front of you. And it is this: you create space for what is important in your life. Matter of fact, let's all say it together. Can we do that? Ready? You create space for what is important in your life. Let me give you a couple examples. Do we have any Dolphins fans in the room here? Do you want to make some noise? You got some Dolphins fans? Right? Do we have any Jets fans in the room today? We're praying for you. Those are the people to pray for, okay? Let's say you're a Dolphins fan or a Jets fan, and here's the thing. You might be a busy person, right? You've got a full-time job. Perhaps you have a side gig. Maybe you're a full-time student, or you're married. You've got kids, and you might be the kind of person that people cannot even get in touch with. They call you. It's hard to get a call back. You leave people on red, the whole deal. You're very, very busy. And yet there's something that miraculous happens during football season. Because during football season, somehow in your busy schedule, you are able to find 3 hours every single week to sit in front of the television and watch your Dolphins play. Now, how does that happen? Here's how it happens, because this is true of all of us. You create space for what is important in your life.
So, all right. So before he goes, and then he gets deeper into the message, but I want to kind of put the question out there, and I want to just explain to you, when you define important, it's going to be relative to your situation. It's going to be relative to what it is you have going on. What situation did you create? And many times it takes a certain level of humility to understand what's really important, to really let someone in, let someone talk to you, let someone close enough to you to really get you to see, hey, the things that you're prioritizing aren't as important as something new, aren't as important as you think they are. They might be important to you, but when you get a sip of water. But when you break down what you want your future to look like, when you break down the things that you're envisioning for your life, when you break down all the things that you want to be in the next 10, 15 years, it takes other people, it takes letting people in on us in a way that you have never let anyone in before, to really understand the word important in your life. All right, important is going to be relative based on how humble you are to receive the advice of somebody else. And then this takes, like I said, this takes a lot of humbling, a lot of butt whipping, a lot of understanding that, hey, I don't have all the answers, and I have to let people into, because I'm gonna let him go for a second, but I want to make sure we break down the importance. A lot of people go to, all right, what's important? Or they'll even make excuses. Like I used to make these excuses all the time. A year ago, last football season, I would make the excuses all the time. Oh, well, it's college football, so I can go to this bar from 12 a.m. all the way to 10 p.m. and spend a couple $100 because it's college football and it's going to be something I commentate on. I made those excuses. I made that, because I love the sport so much, and because I would convince myself that it was worth spending what I was spending to be there, right? But this was before I actually had someone to call me out on my stuff and say, hey man, look, that's just not being responsible. That's you doing stuff for as one, but it's not doing stuff that's going to be conducive to everyone. You got to get people in your life. You got to get to a situation where you let folks in enough to where, hey, you are working on what's important, but you're doing it together. I could tell you from experience, folks, hear me from my heart. It's the loneliest walk that you will ever walk if you decide, oh, I'm just going to try to figure out every single piece of life by myself. It doesn't work like that. All right. Okay, let me go, because I'm going to start going. You're going
to find time for that. Give you one more example. Some of you are religious about your workouts. As a matter of fact, if you happen to be sitting next to someone who's religious about their workouts, just go ahead and point at them. I want to see who's there. Okay, we got a few of you. You're looking good. You guys are looking good. I see it. Some of you will get up at 5:30 a.m. to be at the gym at 6 a.m. You're benching, you're curling, you're doing cardio, you're doing all sorts of other things that I don't know about because I'm not there at 6 a.m. But you do all of that, and you also are busy. You also have a lot on your plate. How is it that you find time to get to the gym early, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year? Let me tell you the answer to that question, because you create space for what is what? Important in your life. And if working out is important in your life, you're going to make sure you have the space for it. This is why oftentimes people say things like this. If you really want to know what's important to someone, take a look at where they spend their time. You'll find out what's really important to them. Now, here's why I start with that this morning, because today the title of my message is 3 words. It is prioritize God's presence. Can we all say that together today? Prioritize God's presence. And here's what I want to call you to. I'm going to call you to create space in your life for the most important thing in your life. Now, let me clarify what I mean by that. The most important thing in your life is not your job. The most important thing in your life is not the Dolphins. The most important thing in your life is not your marriage or your boyfriend. The most important thing in your life is not even your kids. Let me tell you what the most important thing in your life is. The important thing in the life of every person on planet Earth, it is this. It is a relationship with the living God through Jesus Christ. That is the most important thing.
All right, let me pause them real quick, because that's why I knew, again, I review these before I come on. The reason I do Faith-Based Friday is because I do believe it is very important on a Friday night, or this going into the weekend, that you at least hear God's word. I don't think it's something that should be just limited to Sunday. That's something I don't really like. I like the idea of, allowing some sermon, some God up in me going into a weekend, knowing how my weekends used to be. And when he mentions, and the reason that part actually did stick out to me was because when you mention kids, and you mention your job, and you mention relationship, you mention marriage, you mention all the things that happen in our life we spend a ton of energy, ton of resources, ton of money, tons of time thinking about, that just consume us, absolutely consume us. We can get the idea that those are the most important things in our life. We can get this concept. We can get lost in the sauce, so to speak. We can get lost in a bunch of just, I got to do this for her, and I got to do this for the kids. I got to do this for moms. I got to do this for the job. It can literally dominate an entire conversation. It can dominate an entire relationship. It can get to the point where that is all you speak about. I grew up in a situation. I used to make the joke all the time that the household I grew up in, my room was like, I would make the joke like my parents' room was Nike, my sister's room would be like Reebok, and I was like Under Armour, the new guy on the block, and these are all shoe companies that were like massively competing with each other in business. And I would jokingly tell people like that, but that's how it felt. And if you think about when you run into business and when you're trying to establish a lifestyle, if you don't allow God in and allow people of God in, then whatever is happening for you, like right now, whatever the relationship is, whatever the issue is with the kids, whatever the issue is in your business, whatever the issue is at your job, all of that starts consuming you. And you look up 10, 15 years down the line, and you're like, I have had nothing accomplished. I haven't grown. I've just been trying to stay afloat. when you allow a relationship, I love how he put the point of a relationship with God. See, myself, I went to a Catholic school, and that was like my first introduction to religion. So I had this concept, I kind of had this adversarial relationship with religion because there was this thing that I was told I got to go to mass and then got to have bread and wine. It was so traditional, it was so uniform. It was so like, okay, you're either a Catholic or you're not. And if you're not, get the F out, because we're holy people. And the As One Crookshanks of the world are just weirdos. You know, that was the title. He's just a football. He's just here because he's in the football world, and you know he doesn't belong in the religion type. But the relationship with God, folks, the relationship that you have with God, that is the most important thing, because it'll allow you to float above the nonsense, float above all the things that take so many of us back, so many of the things that ruin our lives, ruin what we want, ruin the things that we actually want to be, is because of your lack of a relationship with God. The relationship that you have with God is going to be something that's ongoing. It's going to keep you above letting little things that happen in your secular world, letting these little things that happen in your secular world get you off track. So the relationship, as a matter of fact, you know what? I'm gonna let him say it again. I'm gonna let him say it again, because we go into church on this July 4th, bro. Okay. He said a relationship, folks. He didn't run around just saying, oh, you gotta memorize some scripture here. You gotta memorize the Bible. A relationship. You and God are kicking it. Y'all are homeboys. Y'all are good. We talk it no matter what's happening. Okay. The relationship with God, folks, is what is the most important thing, because it opens the door for you to have relationships with the right people, and the right people start becoming attracted to your world. The relationship. Okay. I'm getting too excited. Maybe because it's the holiday, and then I'm in St. Augustine. All right, let me go.
It's not your job.
Come on.
The most important thing in your life, here's what I want to call you to. I want to call you to create space in your life for the most important thing in your life. Now, let me clarify what I mean by that. The most important thing in your life is not your job. The most important thing in your life is not the Dolphins. The most important thing in your life is not your marriage or your boyfriend. The most important thing in your life is not even your kids. Let me tell you what the most important thing in your life is. And the important thing in the life of every person on planet Earth, it is this. It is a relationship with the living God through Jesus Christ. That is the most important thing. So here's what I want to call you to. Like my heart, my singular ambition for our time together this morning is this. Is that by the end of this message, you will walk out of this room with a white-hot conviction to say, this week, I will prioritize the presence of God in my life. This week, I'm going to create space for the presence of God in my life. Now, let me tell you why I want that to be true of you, because here's what I know will happen. When you create space for the presence of God in your life, when you prioritize his presence, it changes you. It's going to change your marriage. It's going to change your parenting. It'll change your experience of peace. It is going to change your experience of joy. It absolutely transforms your life. To get started, what I want to do this morning is I want to take us to the book of Mark, chapter 1, verse 32. We're going to take a look at a moment in the life of Jesus where he's showing us this rhythm of creating space for that which is most important. We'll look at his life. We'll take some principles there and apply it to our lives. And then we'll close and just pray over you that God would seal this word in your heart. But we'll start in verse 32. It says this: that evening, after sunset, the people brought to Jesus all the sick and demon possessed. So just getting our bearings here. It's nighttime. Jesus is in a home in Capernaum. And as the sun has set, people start showing up to the house in which Jesus is staying, and they're showing up asking Jesus to heal the people that are around them and deliver them from demonic oppression. But it's not just a handful of people that show up to Jesus's house. Take a look at what the text says. It says this: what are those next two words?
Whole town.
Whole town. So the whole town gathered at the door, and Jesus healed many who had various diseases. He also drove out many demons, but he would not let the demons speak because they knew who he was. Now, here's what's going on. Mark chapter 1 gives us a rare glimpse of
All right, I'll close you guys out with that. As I always do every Saturday, I strongly recommend you guys go and listen to the entire sermon. But like I said, I want to keep this around 20 to 25 minutes. But the most important thing and the biggest takeaway, and I'll just close you out with this concept, is you really got to question yourself. This is the part of it where you actually have to look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, look within, start looking within and ask yourself, am I really prioritizing God? Am I really setting some time apart to have my own alone time? And this is where I want to make sure I emphasize it's a relationship with God, because too often do you go out into the world and you try to be a part of some sort of system that's already in place, and what they're taught to do is to, try to bring you into their own religion, bring you into their own system, bring you into their own way of thinking. And it's so important that you really ask yourself, is this getting to a relationship with God where I'm allowing myself to be in a place where I'm not judging other folks in their situation. I'm not walking around acting like I'm just better than people and I just know everything. It's so important that relationship with God is going to lead you to be open-minded enough that you're able to start to have a level of faith, a walk of faith. That should be the feeling of the relationship that you have with God. It should not be a feeling of I'm just good now. I'm just automatically going to go to heaven because I know so and so and I know this. No, I'm going to heaven because I walk in faith and I believe that there's something bigger than myself out there. And I'm humble enough to learn from others who've done it before. I'm humble enough to really take in the information and understanding that I am not perfect at all in anything I do, but I know that I'm able to strive in a way that's going to get me to where it is I want to be. So all that being said, again, happy 4th, happy July 4th, man. Have an incredible time. Enjoy family, enjoy friends, enjoy wherever. I mean, I can remember I am going to absolutely have a blast. I'm 1,000% sure it's going to be the greatest July 4th that I've ever had. All right. There have been times when I first moved out here, where I have to spend this July 4th sleeping on a beach somewhere, lonely, not knowing anybody. So again, if you don't have somebody to celebrate with, I feel you. I hear you. Just again, that walk of faith, understanding that walk of faith is real. I'm living proof example of what happens when you decide to step out on faith and really allow God in and be humble enough to let people in to where, the folks that are coming into your life are strictly folks that are just going to make you better and improve you in some way, shape, form, or fashion. So again, as always, love you guys, man. Appreciate all the support. Appreciate it all, man. Main website to check out to dive deeper into everything I'm doing. It's MakeYaMove.com. That's MakeYaMove.com. One-stop shop for all your teamwork and your self-development needs. As one Crookshank, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, checking out. You guys continue to move swiftly. We will talk more soon.